This content may contain footage and events that some viewers will find disturbing.
On the 23rd of October, student group Durham Stands with Hong Kong held a protest in Market Square after a Hong Kong pro-democracy activist, Bob Chan, was seemingly attacked at the Chinese consulate in Manchester. Originally, this project was supposed to be a straightforward news report on the protest in Durham. However, when our reporters reached out to the Chinese consulate and received an odd response, including links to a notorious pro-China YouTuber, articles from independent and state-funded newspapers, and doctored footage of the event, we soon discovered that there was more to uncover in this story, starting with the controversial protest in Manchester. Footage shows Mr. Chan being dragged inside the consulate grounds and beaten, seemingly by consulate staff. In response, Hong Kong activist groups across the country organised a nationwide protest on Sunday, including this one at Market Square. PAL TV secured an exclusive interview with the organisers to ask why they are protesting and what they are demanding of local officials.
The reason why we're here today is because we stand in solidarity with the protesters being beaten up in Manchester a few days ago by the Chinese Consulate General, who actually admitted that he did beat the protesters up and argued that it was his duty to beat them up because the peaceful protesters insulted his country. So we're here today to explain to local Durham residents about what happened and to hope that they would sign the petition to our local MP, Mary Foy, so that this matter will be taken more seriously in Parliament.
Basically, we are here to distribute this leaflet to all the people walking by. We've got a QR code here as well, and then they can scan the QR code and then send the letter to their MP. So what we're demanding here is to expel those attackers from the Chinese consulate in Manchester, because they literally break the international law. In the British soil, it's ridiculous and insane.
This is where our original report was supposed to end. However, things soon took an interesting turn. When PAL TV reporters reached out to the Chinese consulate, requesting a comment on the incident, the response they received led us to the conclusion that a more thorough investigation into the incident was required, and that our original report was no longer adequate. In their response, the consulate stated that they, quote, surely disagree with the claim that their staff pulled a protester onto consulate grounds and beat him. To support their claim, the consulate included a number of links to articles and videos in their response, including a state-controlled newspaper and a notorious pro-China YouTuber. These sources allege that the consulate staff did not attack Bob Chan, and also include statements that consulate staff were allegedly the real victims of the violence. The YouTuber Nathan Rich is also adamant that British media outlets are dishonestly pushing an anti-Chinese narrative. So, now we have the views of the protesters and also those of the Chinese consulate. Our investigators have analysed the footage we've obtained frame by frame to uncover what really happened at the Chinese consulate in Manchester on the 16th of October. At the beginning of the footage, we can see that protesters are peacefully demonstrating outside the consulate's grounds, displaying several banners. Consulate staff then emerge, 4 in total, including Consul General Zhang Shiwen. The Consul General can then be seen kicking down a banner, while 2 other guards attempt to remove another. As part of their response to us, the consulate sent us an article from a state-run media outlet that claims that the Consul General, quote, felt forced to tear down and remove the protesters' banners as they were provocative, vile, and that their messages were even life-threatening. We translated these banners, and roughly they say, "Congratulations my ass," and "Wipe out the CCP." As 2 members of staff, seen here, attempt to take the protesters' banners through the gates of the consulate, a number of protesters rush to stop them. This is where the footage of the event becomes less clear. Nathan's video argues that Bob Chan, highlighted here, tried to pull the staff member in red out of the consulate grounds. Instead, he alleges that Bob ended up getting pulled into the consulate's grounds himself, where he then assaulted the staff member in red. From the CCTV footage we analysed, Bob can be seen grappling with the staff member in red. It's unclear who is pulling who. However, once they are separated by 2 other members of consulate staff, it does seem at least from Bob's body positioning, that he was not trying to enter the consulate's grounds to grapple with the staff member in red. In fact, images taken show that the staff member in red is no longer near Bob, and actually show the Consul General himself pulling Bob inside by his hair, while a police officer attempts to pull Bob away. That attempt fails, and Bob then ends up inside the consulate grounds. As this unfolds, the same security guard that took the protesters' banner is seen on the ground, being kicked repeatedly by two protesters. It is claimed by Nathan that this footage was purposefully omitted by British media to support their anti-China narrative.
Statements sent to us by the consulate even claim that the official in red was choked unconscious by a protester, who we understand to be Bob Chan. He claims that Bob knocked him down, knelt forcefully on his body, eventually leading to the staff member in red briefly losing consciousness. In the footage we have reviewed, it is not clear that this occurred. A recording captured from another angle very clearly shows several consulate staff punching Bob in the head repeatedly. Another violently pulls his hair with both hands. It's unclear how the staff member in the red jacket ended up on the ground. However, it seems unlikely that Bob was attacking him, considering Bob was dragged inside by staff members and then attacked himself.
I don't attack anybody.
This refutes the claim that consulate staff did not pull Bob Chan into consulate grounds and hit him. Later in the recording, what seems to be human hair is lying on the banner that was taken into the consulate. In the footage, Bob Chan is the only individual with hair this long. Greater Manchester Police have revealed that an officer entered the grounds of the consulate to pull Bob out of fear for Bob's life. Since the event, Greater Manchester Police have launched an investigation, and in late November they revealed that a number of offences, including assaults and public order violations, were acted out at the protest. Then, mid-December, UK Foreign Secretary James Cleverly confirmed that UK authorities had requested the Chinese officials involved waive their diplomatic immunity to allow UK police to question them. A deadline of December 14th was set. However, on that day, Mr. Cleverly revealed that in response to the UK government's deadline, 6 Chinese consulate staff involved in the dispute, including the Consul General, were being removed from the United Kingdom by China. Denying the obvious linkage between the deadline and the removal of Chinese officials, a spokesman for the consulate said that the Chinese Consul General in Manchester has completed his term of office and has returned to China, claiming that this was part of a normal rotation of Chinese consulate officials. Contradicting that narrative, Foreign Secretary James Cleverly has expressed his disappointment that these individuals will not be interviewed or face justice, though maintaining that, nonetheless, those responsible for the disgraceful scenes are no longer consular staff accredited to the UK. With these developments, the current status of the investigation is unclear. Ultimately, while there is evidence that both staff and protesters committed violent acts, it seems irrefutable that the protester Bob Chan was dragged inside the consulate grounds and beaten by its staff. Furthermore, some of the evidence provided to us by the consulate seems to equate the violent actions of the protesters with the violent actions of the staff. However, is it not misrepresentative to hold a group of protesters to the same standard as one of the most senior Chinese diplomats in the UK? You've been watching a PAL TV visual investigation.